Andre Onana is feeling the love from Africa, his motherland, and specifically Uganda. He's loving it. How on earth is this going to help him maintain the good form he has picked up for himself from the start of this season? Because if the Premier League season were to end right now, without a shadow of a doubt, Andre Onana would win the Golden Glove. He would be the best goalkeeper because he has kept the most clean sheets so far out of 7 games played. My name is Webb. Welcome to the United of Sport. Here is a quick morning update about the status of Manchester United. I know many a time people think, well, because it's an international break, there is not so much talk about these clubs. Well, for Man United, every day, even during the off season, there is something to talk about this club. That's why it is the biggest football club in the world. Now, the size of Man United has been seen more and more through the eyes of Andre Onana and how he is received by Ugandans the 2 times he's been there. Of course, as I speak right now, he is still in Uganda. He's going to be taking part in that AFCON qualifier against Kenya for his native Cameroon, but I do hope he will concentrate. The beauty is he's not going to be having people disturbing him because it's going to be played behind closed doors. But from the airport to the stadium, where even journalists themselves were starstruck by Andrew Onana taking selfies, and he loved the moment. He was not concentrating during warm up and training. You clearly saw he enjoys it. You know, who doesn't want to feel loved? I can bet you Andrew Onana and his beautiful wife will return to Uganda in the near future. I mean, no, who wouldn't? Because you always want to be where you're loved, especially if you're a player like Andrew Onana who faced a lot of criticism and scrutiny during his first time as Man United, his first season as Man United goalkeeper. People comparing him to David De Gea and trying to show that he wasn't good enough to replace him. Now you go to Uganda, a country perhaps he had never visited before, and you're seeing all these strangers loving you from the airport all the way to the stadium. Journalists, everyone want to take a selfie. The deputy speaker of parliament having to come and bring their kid to greet you, to meet you. That's love. Who doesn't want to feel loved like that? So I think that for me is even going to help him do better. I saw that after the first game Cameroon played in Uganda, the love he got from Ugandans, the next days he went on to become best goalkeeper because of the most clean sheets he kept. He went on to save Man United from a lot of goals, save the penalty. The fire was different. It was burning different. For me, again, like Benny McCarthy sort of alluded, the issues that United players have are more of mental than talent and physical. That's why we're struggling. So any love they can feel to make them go back into at the club, into Carrington, into Old Trafford, all the away games they play, feeling loved. I think it will help them a lot in terms of getting calm again, feeling calm again. They won't, judge themselves. They will concentrate on the football, and we shall see the best of them. So I'll tell you, all this whole period of love for Andrew Nana is quite nostalgic, is quite therapeutic to him, and it's good for his mental health. I'm hoping that even other players will see it and come to Uganda because the love we showed on Nana is a good attraction for the rest of the players who certainly get a lot of criticism elsewhere they go everywhere. Even Eric Ten Hag himself, I think, if he came to Uganda, he would live happier. He would live with less stress. I think the entire Man United team needs to have a tour of Uganda. I think even other African countries would show them the love like that. But as a Ugandan, I know that in my country, we are loving like that. We are so tolerant. We are patient. We show love when we have to especially to foreigners, and you love to see it. So these Man United players who have been through a lot need to just come and cool it off in Uganda, and they go back feeling more comfortable. I think it will be good therapy because the problem we realize is mental. They need to fix it. Take them where they're loved. So good stuff there from Ugandans back home and everything they do to show love to this number one of Manchester United. Now, away from that, from the love, we hope Andrew Onana has a good game against Kenya for Cameroon. We hope he returns fully fit for the Brentford game on the 19th. That's this coming weekend. But there are quite a number of players who won't be there for that game, at least if the earlier injury update was anything to go by. We know that Alejandro Garnacho was playing through pain in the last 2 games because of a knee injury. He dropped out of the Argentine national team. that played Bolivia and Venezuela. So he's certainly most likely not going to be available for the next game against Brentford. Ahmad Diallo perhaps could be available. Ahmad perhaps could be available because his was just an illness, not really an injury per se. Depending on how bad the illness was, but perhaps he's okay now. Usually illnesses could take a few days, but it can also take longer. So it's still not clear, but he's probably going to be available for the Brentford game. Lenny Yoro still needs time out. Of course, he's on his way back. His rehabilitation has started, trying to work his way back to full fitness. So perhaps end of September or early November, Lenny Yoro could be returning. And guys, I know we've got all these centre backs fit at least for now, but Lenny Yoro clearly is a very important player. I think of all our injured players, Lenny Yoro right now perhaps might be one of the more important ones we need to return as early as possible, because clearly this kid can add, give us a lot in terms of his physique and pace in that backline that is really a little too slow. So Lenny Yoro is one we should be pushing for a quick return before the season gets out of our hands. It's not yet too bad to fix, but we need him back soon. Kobe Maino as well, of course, missed the England game, so he's also not 100% fit. It's unknown when he will be returning, but he's one of those who are not there. Even his injuries is not quite clear, so we're waiting to see, because uh, he had missed the clash against Porto in the Europa League, and it was a forced rest really, if I would say, because he was forced off the game against Aston Villa. So we'll wait and see. Nusal Mazraoui was having a corrective procedure, but these are things to do with the heart. You don't want to rush such a player. Perhaps he could be returning in November because of the heart procedure he had. So again, not good there. Harry Maguire, with his foot injury, could be returning in November as well. He's over 30, so injuries certainly will take a little longer for him to cure and be fully fit. Again, big concern. Mason Mount, knock and head injury. We don't know when he could return, but he has been unlucky. His stint at Man United so far not kicking off because of injuries. Is a start and stop, and you hate to see it, given the potential he's got. Luke Shaw, his calf problem is expected to return in October. That is this month, the end of this month. After this international break, in fact, it was a hint that given by the manager before. There is hope that he could return. My question is, when he returns, how much longer will he give us? So that's the multi-million pounds question, because if he's not going to be there for long, I think it's high time we just gave up on Luke Shaw, because the false hope is not taking us anywhere. The entire Malaysia, with his knee injury as well, is expected to return this month in October. So, in fact, Malaysia, it is said and believed that could return before Luke Shaw does. So, that's the injury situation. It's quite ugly. It's just that we've got a bit of depth in our squad now. That's why it's not as alarming as it were the previous season. But the reality is, we're still almost in the same place. So many injuries affecting the club, and soon it could be the excuse that Erik ten Hag gives. Whether that is something United fans would want to listen to, I'm not sure, but I don't think so. I think we've got enough players for us to be able to manage some of the games we have. 4 games until the end of October. 2 of those are in the English Premier League. One is a reunion of former coach and former players in the Europa League, and the other is a Carabao Cup game. So that's how busy this month of October is going to be, even if the first game will be towards the end of the month. I mean, it's interesting. So many games, so many fixtures. Well, these players certainly have got to earn every penny that they they do they are paid. So that's a bit of it. That's the situation with Man United. But again, as I wrap up, the manager Erik ten Hag, he will be expected to be in charge and prepare the game against Brentford. So the sack talk, like he said comfortably, is not something of a concern to him. He knows he has got the backing of Ineos, and he went for holiday as the players went for their international break. He will be returning fresh, hoping with renewed energy, not only for him, but also the rest of the team, as we do hope to bounce back to winning ways. It's a difficult time we are in, a difficult period we are in, but it's not too bad or it's not impossible to fix. The reality is we saw improvements, subtle improvements in the team, and we can bank on those to hope that we can salvage this season, because where we are headed is what you would call the 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 organization phase of the season. I mean, these games from the 10th game, thereabout, that is when you start organizing yourself, because you start getting an idea of where you belong. Man United, as we speak, is lying 14th on the log with 8 points in 7 games. 8 points, guys, a goal difference of -3. Scored 5, conceded 8. We've won only 2 games, drawn twice, and lost 3 times. The worst start to a Manchester United season since the late 80s. It's not good enough. I'll see you later, fam.